Hey, it's me, Raika. Today we're going to have a look at the brand new hero being added to the Mauler faction, Anasta the Sacrifice. Now this hero wears strength-based gear and is part of the Warrior faction, and her primary role is to do continuous damage to the enemies, debuff the enemies, and provide a couple of buffs to your allies. So let's have a look at her skills. Her ultimate skill, Spiral Cleave. Anasta breaks nearby enemy shields, dealing 280% attack rating damage to them twice, with the final strike knocking them all enemies down before her, dealing 360% of attack rating damage to them. If Anasta strikes the enemy she is currently in a confrontation with, this is one of her abilities, the confrontation effect will be extended by 4 seconds. The level 2 and 3 increases the damage of the Spiral Cleave up to a maximum of 320% and the final strike of 400% attack rating damage. Her next ability, Shattered Shields, Anasta deals 220% attack rating damage to all enemies before her, reducing the shield values by 30% for 7 seconds. If there are 2 or fewer targets within attack range, the damage dealt is increased to 340%, and nearby enemy shield values is reduced by 50% as well. Now the level 2 upgrade, the damage is increased to 240 and 360% attack rating, and the level 3 upgrade, enemy shield values are respectively reduced by 40% and 60%, and the final upgrade, damage values are respectively increased to 260% and 380% of her attack rating. So let's have a look at her next ability, Confrontation. Anasta initiates a confrontation with the nearest enemy target, immobilizing the target for 7 seconds. So this is essentially a route where the enemy has to essentially face her and fight out each other. While other enemy targets are terrified for 1.5 seconds, Anasta prioritizes her attacks against the target she is confronting throughout the confrontation period and is immune to all taunts, during which time her skills deal additional damage to 6% of the enemy's max health, but do not exceed 300% of her own attack rating. Confrontation period lasts for 9 seconds. Other nearby enemies are terrified for 2.5, and the 30 engravings, the enemy target that is in a confrontation with her will be unable to receive the majority of their buffs from their allies, but will retain all pre-existing buffs. So her next ability, Mauler's Prowess, Anasta gains 2 stacks of Brawler's Protection, reducing the amount of damage she receives by 16% per stack, and recovers 40% of her attack rating as health every second for 6 seconds. So this is a 32% damage reduction and a 80% heal over the duration of 6 seconds. This effect can be stacked 2 times, and if Anasta receives damage that exceeds 10% of her max health from the enemy she is currently in a confrontation with, 1 stack of Brawler's Protection is lost, and Anasta initiates a counterattack that deals 320% attack rating damage to all nearby enemies. The level 2 upgrade, the damage is increased to 350%, and the level 3, Anasta gains 3 stacks of Brawler's Protection, which can be stacked up to a maximum of 3 times. The level 4 or 60 engravings, each stack reduces the amount of damage Anasta receives by 20%, and she recovers 60% of her attack rating every second. So as we can see from her current abilities that she's very powerful at fighting a 1v1 battle. So she might be extremely good when fighting bosses due to her 6% damage equal to the enemy's health, which might be extremely effective. So let's have a look at this hero's signature item. So the unlock for her signature item, Inextinguishable Might, throughout the confrontation period, Anasta gains 15 tenacity points, and the duration of most debuffs she may be suffering from is shortened by 15%. Alright, her 10 unlock, if the number of enemies with in Anasta's attack range is 2 or fewer, she will deal 20% more damage to them for 7 seconds. The 20 unlock, throughout the confrontation period, Anasta gains 30 tenacity points, and the duration of most debuffs she may be suffering from is shortened by 30%. And the 30 unlock, if the number of enemies within Anasta's attack range is 2 or fewer, she will deal 35% more damage to them for 7 seconds. So once again, this extreme focus on a 1v1 or boss battle capabilities. So let's have a look at this hero's furniture. So the 3 unlock. When Anasta deals damage to the enemy target she is currently in a confrontation with, she receives 1 stack of Brawler's protection. This effect can be triggered once every 5 seconds. So this is a passive heal and damage reduction. When Anasta initiates a confrontation, all allied heroes are granted 2 stacks of Brawler's protection. When allied heroes are with Brawler's protection, they will deal damage to the enemy in a confrontation with Anasta. They will immediately gain 1 stack of Brawler's protection. This effect can be used once every 8 seconds. Brawler's protection will be removed from allies when they suffer damage from their confrontation target, but they will not initiate a counter strike against them. This effect can be stacked 2 times. So once again, she also provides a significant amount of damage reduction for her allies, as well as the healing aspect as well. So let's have a look at how she does in battle. So one thing that is extremely important about this hero is that she is a warrior, and she'll start in the front row dealing damage to the enemies. So as we can see it, there we go, she's in the front row. There's the debuff or shield shatter effect icon that she applies on the enemy. As we can see, that 30 or 40% shield reduction. As we can see, there's Brawler's prowess, where she can gain 3 stacks of that damage reduction and healing that she can get from those specific shields. And if she has a furniture unlocked, she'll also be able to provide this buff for her allies as well. So let's have a look at her ultimate ability. There we go, she does the 3 strike, and she is able to deal a significant amount of damage to the enemies. There's a Terrify ability when she confronts the target, so the confrontation is marked by the little circle around the enemy. So that's the circle on the ground here. So let's have a look at a different battle. This is with the signature item, furniture, and engravings. So as we can see, I placed it in the front row. Alright, now she's fighting these 2 targets in the top corner over here. And she can deal a significant amount of damage to the enemies. Because she has her own healing damage reduction, she can easily stand in the front row and help tank a bit of damage for her allies. So other teams that she might work extremely well with is invade-based teams, as this will give them the damage reduction healing that they will need in order to survive. So let's have a look at a much higher deficit and how she performs. So as we can see here, she's paired up in the front row with Taylene. So this is to essentially tank the enemy's damage, where the back row provides the stuns and the support necessary from Zafrael, Wukong, and the twins in order to deal damage. So let's have a look at how she works in battle. This is a 510 compared to a 300 level deficit. So that's a 210 level deficit. And as we can see, she can do a significant amount of single target damage to the enemies. So as I mentioned before, she might do extremely well to bosses who have shields, as she can essentially shatter those shields, removing those shields and reducing the shield value of the enemies. As you can see, there is our ultimate, where she slams the target with 3 strikes. And once again, she'll do extremely well in the front row when paired with heroes such as Screg, who can provide additional damage reduction and energy for the team. So as we can see, she did a significant amount of damage, as well as tanking a similar amount of damage to Scrake, who is primarily a tank hero, and she also did a significant amount of healing for herself. The same is true for the Tailene team. As we can see here, she also did a significant amount of damage, even more so than Tailene. So she might be essentially a replacement to heroes such as Saurus, who have been used previously as bossing heroes. So the minimum investment that I would recommend getting her to would be the 30 signature item, as this gives her the more damage being applied to the enemies, as well as 3 furniture, so she can constantly be refreshing the brawler's prowess, so she can get the damage reduction and the self-sustain.